Hi. Hi, everybody. This is Cheryl Richardson, and welcome to my weekly Facebook Live. I'm here to offer you some self-care coaching on all kinds of topics, whether it's career-related, health, relationships, home, you name it. Whatever is going on in your life that you feel like you could use some support with, I'm here to provide you with whatever support I can. Hopefully, my words will help heal you or the situation in some way. That's the goal. Um, and so before I get to your questions and your coaching, I want to talk a little bit about a few things, like I often do. Let me say hi to a few people. Hi, Diane. Welcome to you. And Kristen. Hi, Lisa. Glad you're here. And Angela, welcome. Happy Wednesday to you too. And Vivian and Diane and let's see, Teresa, welcome to you, sweetheart. And Kit and Sabrina and Sheila. Hi, Sheila. Welcome to you. And James, it's good to see you here. Yes, James and Kathy and Scott from Texas. Glad you're here, Scott. Thank you. And Adrian. Oh, and I'm sorry you're missing your mom, Adrian. Yes, it's so hard to lose people we love. Carmen from Colorado, thank you. I love you too. And Ornelia and Brenda and Geraldine and Philip, thank you for being here. And Lori and Sandra and Joel. Hi, Joel. Glad to have you back. And Ryan, welcome, Ryan from London. I hope to get over there soon in the next couple of months. It's good to see you here as well. So this week, so there's a couple things I wanted to just say before we get started. First of all, if there's a question that you have for me, you want to type it out now. You'll be able to put it in the comments section. You want to make sure you copy it because you might need to post it a few times because Facebook scrolls through your comments so quickly and it doesn't let me go back for some reason. Hopefully that'll get fixed at some point. And so that's one thing. So get your questions ready. Secondly, the Self-Care by the Sea retreat, the next one is out and open for registration in April. It's April 12th through the 14th. And it's a wonderful kind of immersive experience. If you're feeling stuck or like you're in your own way or like you're ready, like you just need some kind of an intervention, let's say a spiritual and self-care intervention, then the retreat might be for you. It's where I work with people individually. I do coaching with people, with students in the room. And, we talk about life issues, but we also talk about what's going on in your life and what you feel you need support with. And what we often find out is that everybody in the room can relate in some fashion. And the coaching that I might give to one person actually applies to everybody. And we also have a lot of fun and we do some very interesting exercises. And it's a very sort of hands-on, intimate, roll up your sleeves and really take a, I don't want to say a long, hard look at your life. That sounds like homework. But take a deeper look into, gain a deeper perspective into both yourself, your life, where you are right now, and maybe where you want to go. So I'll post the link to the registration on here after we finish, as well as any other resources we talk about. I always do that. So this week I received a question from one of my members of my online family. I like to think of you all as family. And I wanted to answer the question because it's something that we all come up against at one point or another in our lives. And I thought it might be helpful to address it so that you have the resources as well. You have my thinking on, I'm calling it self-care in a crisis. And this email came in from Jill and it says, well, as luck would have it, my position was eliminated along with several other staff recently. I wonder if Cheryl would consider offering some thoughts on self-talk and calm and faith during a challenging time. I'd be most grateful. Well, Jill, this is for you, sweetheart. And I'm sorry that you've had this sort of like a wake-up call. That's what it is, right? Whether we have the diagnosis of an illness, whether we get laid off or lose a job, or suddenly, I don't know, our spouse comes home and says, I don't want to be married to you anymore, or we lose a loved one, we lose a beloved pet. Life is filled with unexpected situations, right? We all have had them, and we all will continue to have them. And the first thing I wanted to say to you, Jill, is you were really wise in the very first sentence of your email when you said, well, as luck, in quotes, would have it, my position was eliminated. As difficult as it can be when we're first hit with a crisis or hit with a challenging situation, it's an interesting time to also kind of install a belief somewhere that life is working in your favor and that there may be an opportunity to use this situation to support your own evolution. There is always an opportunity for that, but that this could be a lucky break for you, Jill. I'll speak to just you specifically. Maybe it is a lucky break. I don't know how long you've been at your job. I don't know how well you liked your job. A lot of times people who have been at jobs for a long time and are just going through the motions, or are bored, or don't feel creatively challenged, or feel like the job sucks the life out of them, get hit with a layoff or a downsizing, feel blindsided, are really frightened and overwhelmed, and a year later will say to me, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. So I think that it's important to somewhere inside hold the belief that this could be a real benefit to me, and at the same time recognize that how we approach any crisis is a learning opportunity. And when we approach a change like a job loss, for example, through the lens of, I am going to take this on fully and completely and use this to my advantage, then you set yourself in the right direction. You're headed in the right direction. So it was interesting, Jill, and everybody here. I've been doing some editing to The Art of Extreme Self-Care. Hay House has asked to republish The Art of Extreme Self-Care to give it a new look and new resources, freshen up the resources and the text. And so I just finished going through the edits last night. And the very last chapter of that book, first of all, can I just say, this happens to me all the time. As I was reading through the book, I felt like every time I worked on a chapter, it was something I needed to hear. And I thought, how funny is that my own writing, very often, how many times have we heard, I need to take my own advice, right? Well, I would read through a chapter and I'd think, oh gosh, I completely forgot I wrote that, and I need to remember that. Last night, I finished the edits, and the last chapter of the book, Jill, is called Your Extreme Self-Care First Aid Kit. And this chapter is all about what to have in place before you have a crisis in your life, or before you're faced with some kind of a real difficult situation. And so a lot of times we don't even think about this till we're already faced with a difficult situation. And then we can use that to create this first aid kit so that you can use it in the future. So I wanted to review some of the suggestions that I make, some of the questions you want to ask yourself, both for Jill and anybody else here who wants to be prepared for a crisis or a difficult situation, or some kind of life challenge, wants to be prepared. Or if you're going through something like that right now, then you want to maybe pay attention to some of this advice. As a matter of fact, I had a call with a dear friend earlier today who's just received a very difficult diagnosis, and she's really scared, just like you're really scared, Jill, suddenly being laid off. And I immediately began going over some of this material with her. And by the end of the call, she said to me, oh, I feel better. I feel more empowered. And that's what we want. We want to feel empowered when we're going through a difficult situation. So the first thing to ask yourself is, who can I turn to for support? Like, who comforts you, makes you feel safe, is able to really listen to you, is able to allow you to have your feelings? It's really important that we be able to debrief with somebody, to vent with somebody, to express how we feel without being interrupted with their advice, their thoughts, their own concern for us. Especially, if you're dealing with a health crisis, for example, and you're sharing that with loved ones, they're having their own reaction to it, right? So all of us, a lot of us, hopefully all of us, have somebody in our life who's pretty level-headed, maybe even unflappable, and can listen without sort of stirring up drama or without telling you what you need to do. That's not what we need when we're in a difficult situation. So you want to ask yourself, who can I turn to for support? And have those people in mind ahead of time. It might be one person, it might be three people. But the second question to ask yourself is, who do I need to avoid? Now, this is also important because you want to pay attention to who are the people that add to your anxiety level, who might overwhelm you with questions or, as I said, have a tough time just listening. It might be that you don't even tell those people what's going on until you get over the initial hump of shock and fear and overwhelm, and you're able to kind of put some stability in place. There is nothing wrong with keeping any kind of a crisis or challenge or scary situation to yourself or sharing it with just a few people. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually really good self-care. As a matter of fact, at the end of the retreats that I lead, I always say to people that are at the retreats, listen, when you leave here, it's perfectly okay to go home and tell your loved ones, I love you. I look forward to telling you about what the weekend was like, but I'm not ready yet. I need to digest what happened. I need to really kind of integrate what happened. And when I feel ready to speak about it, I'll let you know. So it's the same thing with a crisis. You don't have to tell anybody, or if you do have to tell somebody for whatever reason, for example, if you need to tell your spouse, because obviously he or she is involved in your finances and your personal life, it's okay to say to them, listen, can we not talk about this until I kind of get my head on straight about it? Give me a few days to just, get some support and, wrap my head around what's going on, and then we can sit down and actually have a conversation. Just entertain that as a method of practicing good self-care. The next thing is to think about is, what does my body need to feel nurtured, strong, resilient, healthy? A lot of times when we're overwhelmed emotionally, we're so focused on our feelings or our thinking that we forget we have a body. As much as we talk about the mind-body connection, which is what I think influences what happens in my physical body, what also happens in your body influences how you think. For example, if you're really tired, it's hard to think clearly, right? If you're feeling anxious, it's hard to feel confident and powerful, right? So these are some of the physical symptoms that can make you feel less empowered. And so I think it's really important to look at how you can take care of your body. Can I don't know, have more green drinks? Can I get out and walk? Like, Jill, it would be really great for you. Maybe you could find a friend that you could kind of debrief with or vent with and go out for a walk and debrief with that person while you're walking. Like, whatever you can do to make your body feel strong, because when our bodies are strong, we feel stronger, we feel more empowered. So that's important as well. The other thing to think about is, what commitments or responsibilities do I need to let go of to make the space for whatever it is I need for tending to my life at this time. A really good example of this is if you are faced with a health crisis, for example, a scary diagnosis. One of the gifts of a scary diagnosis or waiting for test results is we get crystal clear about what really matters to us, don't we? Like our priorities. All of a sudden you realize, these people are important to me, this particular thing is important to me, and I could care less about these other three things that were so important before this happened. That's the kind of information we want to stay conscious of. That's the gold in the darkness that we want to take with us as we move forward in our lives, so that we remember what really matters. And in a situation like a health diagnosis, or a situation where you lose your job, Jill, and you're scared about money or just your future and what's going to happen, it's important to give yourself space. It's just like with loss. When Michael and I lost our cat Poupon, and I was devastated, I immediately canceled several things because I knew I needed to create enough space around me to have the feelings that I was to let the tears flow when they wanted to flow, or to be able to pick up the phone and talk to somebody when I was feeling really overwrought by grief. So You want to create some space in your life, Jill, to be able to process this experience and then eventually also to be able to embark on a job search. By the way, as a separate aside, I want to say to you, if you're being laid off, if your division or your company is being downsized, it's really a good idea to get some coaching or guidance too around things like severance, job search help. You know, if you've been with the company a long time, that they might be willing to provide you with outplacement services, which are services that help you to find your next job, for example. So you want to investigate that as well. Human resources would be able to give you some information on that. Another thing to consider is what unhelpful coping strategies or activities do I need to avoid? You want to avoid overdrinking, drug use, any kind of addictive behavior. It's one thing to engage in activities that kind of give your worried mind a rest, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But we don't want to engage in destructive behaviors in any kind of an addictive way to avoid whatever it is we're feeling as a result of the crisis that we're facing. So it's helpful to think ahead of time about the the unhealthy coping strategies that you might be tempted to engage in that could get you into trouble. It's going to take a drink. And then this addresses, Jill, your question about how do I get calm? How do I have faith? When we're faced with a crisis, we want to look at what are the spiritual practices that we engage in that can restore our faith or comfort us in some way, that connects us to a higher self, to God, to a higher power, to the creator, however you define a presence bigger than you. And I've done that in a number of ways. I've been in situations in my life where I've been really, just really upset about something, and I've been traveling, and I'll go into a church and just sit quietly in a church, whether, any church, doesn't matter what denomination it is. Just sitting quietly in a sacred space can be helpful. Reading spiritual books and literature can be helpful. I know that Emmet Fox's book, Power Through Constructive Thinking, or Power Through Constructive Thought, was a book that I used in my late 20s, early 30s, when I was going through a really difficult time. And that book, I felt like it just carried me through a year of I look back now and it was like a growth spurt, but it was a really challenging time for me. So what kind of spiritual practices? Lighting candles, rituals. This friend of mine I was speaking with earlier today has some very strong spiritual practices that she uses in her daily life, and she's kind of raising the bar on using them to help her feel connected. Presence, believe it or not, stopping, being quiet, lighting a candle, having reverence for the moment. Simple things like that can really bring a feeling of calm and sort of spiritual essence to the to the body, to your mind and your body. The spirit is a really powerful force. It needs presence and silence a lot of times. And so being out in nature, I know for me, even looking out the window, sometimes I'll just sit and stare at my bird feeder and watch the birds or the squirrels come. And it connects me to something bigger than myself. Nature really does that for me. And I often find, Jill, that when I'm out in nature, when I'm feeling scared and I go out into nature, something will happen. A red cardinal will appear. A heron, a great blue heron, will show up in my backyard. A hawk will fly over. The other day I was driving home and I was upset about something. I don't even remember what it was. And 3 geese flew overhead. And I just thought, I don't know, there's something about that reminds me I'm a human being on this spinning ball in the air. And sometimes the things that feel so tragic and so devastating aren't really all that tragic and devastating. And then what do I need to feel comforted at this time? What are some of the things that comfort you? I know for me, heating pads do it. Going to bed early is comforting to me. Reading a good book. I just finished finally finished. I was savoring Cy Montgomery's book, How to Become a Good Creature. I mentioned that book over Christmas as a wonderful gift for loved ones who love animals. It's a beautiful book. So reading a good book is comforting to me. Getting a hug from Michael is comforting to me. Sometimes, I'll just go to him and I'll say, I just need you to just hug me. That's all I need. And I feel comforted and safe. And our massage therapist, Allie, who is just a love, has the best hug in the world. And when she was here after Poupon died, her hugs felt like they literally infused me with this healing love. So sometimes a hug is a good thing. All the time, a hug is a good thing, right? And then, so just one last example. What do I need to do to take a break from the emotional stress? This is really important. There's other examples in the book, but I'm just touching on a few of them. What do I need to do to take a break from the emotional stress is a really important question, because it's so easy to obsessively worry about things. And we need a break from that. So sometimes really good TV series, like I know Victoria has just started up, and I love period movies and television. And so I've been watching Victoria. I've been watching, as I think everybody else on the planet has been watching, the tidying show on Netflix, if you haven't seen it, with Marie Kondo. I think it's Kondo. I don't know if I'm saying that right. What I love most about what she's doing is the presence that she brings to the home, the sacredness of the home, and the sacredness of the experience of making a home a place that sparks joy, as she says. So sometimes the best way to calm your worried mind is to just go to a comedy show, or watch, go on Netflix. There's plenty of comedians on Netflix, or watch things you don't typically watch, or read a good book. As I said before, that can be a great way to distract yourself. Healthy distractions, there's nothing wrong with that. A hot bath and a glass of wine, nothing wrong with that at all. As long as doesn't turn into 5 glasses of wine, then it's a problem. So Jill, I promise you that if you take on this job loss as the next divine assignment that is here to bring you to a whole new level of satisfaction and meaning and fulfillment in your life, you will visit me again a year from now and say, this job loss was the best thing that ever happened to you. I'm also going to, Terry, if you could make a note, Jessica Sweet, I think it's wishingwell.com. I've mentioned her before. She's a wonderful career coach, and Jill will post a link to her website. She's written a lot of great blogs about job search, and I think that would be a very good resource for you too. So there you have it, self-care in a crisis. The questions that I talked about in relation to Jill can be used by any of you to support you as you go through a difficult time. We don't want to suffer in silence. We don't want to suffer alone. You don't want to suffer, period, if you don't have to. I mean, suffering's a natural part of life, but you don't have to stay stuck there. You actually can help move yourself forward by getting the support that you deserve. Okay? All right. So I am going to now take your questions. So this is a time for you to go ahead and post your questions. Feel free to post them a couple of times in case I don't get to them, because as I said, Facebook scrolls through the comments really quickly. So let's see. Adrian says, Cheryl, what can my husband and I gain as a couple from your retreat? Well, the next retreat, Adrian, in April, that's a really good question for that one. Russ Hudson, really the world's leading expert on the Enneagram, which is a personality profiling system, but it really captures the kind of spiritual essence of who we are. One of the things that Russ and I will be doing during the retreat is talking about how understanding your unique makeup, your unique identity, based on the 9 different types of the Enneagram, how it interacts with other types. I will tell you that when Michael and I found the Enneagram many years ago and understood our own individual types and what that meant in terms of our needs and our blocks and the ways that just the ways that we behaved in the world, it took our marriage to a whole other level because I understood things about Michael. Some of the things that used to drive me nuts about him um, completely changed as a result of learning about the Enneagram and learning about my type and his type. And, one of the main focuses of this next retreat in April is really about the longing we all have for deeper connections to one another and how we get in the way of that, and how becoming aware of the unique ways that we block ourselves from the love and the connection that we want, how becoming aware of it is the first step in changing it. So if you want to take your relationship to a deeper level, if you want to understand each other better, along with understanding yourselves, and if you want to multiply your level of compassion and empathy for each other by 1,000, then I would say the retreat's for you. Okay, let's see. What other questions? I hope that's helpful, Adrienne. So remember to post your questions a couple of times in case I don't get to it. Okay, this is where I'm just trying to read through. Yes, meditation can restore a sense of faith without a doubt. And breathing, deep breathing, yes. Oops, it's a little bug here. Okay, so I'm just scrolling through to get to your questions. I love that. Janice says, hi, Cheryl. I've read all your books and love them. Thank you, Janice. I saw a pelican today when I went to the grocery store. I've never seen one in Youngsville, Louisiana. See, that's like a little sign from nature. I would look up the symbolism of pelicans, see if you can find one. Find the symbolism. Oh, here we go. Is this Janice? Somebody did that. To see a pelican represents nurture and sacrifice and charity. It indicates your selflessness and how you put others first before yourself. You're always caring for others. Thank you, Diane. That was so sweet for you to look up the meaning of that for her. That's really beautiful. That's the other thing I want to say about this community. I go back and read the comments throughout the next day. It is so wonderful the way people support each other in this community, offer advice, offer to connect with each other, offer to talk to one another when you're going through similar things. And I just think that's so beautiful. I appreciate that a lot. Let's see. Kristen says, I'm having a crisis of faith. How do I reconcile my religious faith with the spiritual discoveries I'm having with concepts like the law of attraction and manifesting? That's a big question, Kristen. And the very first thing that comes to mind for me is to keep an open mind and to trust that where you're meant to go and what you're meant to open to in terms of your own beliefs and your own understanding of a power greater than yourself will reveal itself to you as you keep an open mind. Notice the part of you that wants to judge yourself for exploring other methods, or other concepts, as you say here. The law of attraction, that's like a loaded phrase. And it's now been so used and overused, I think, but it's really about the innate power we have with our thinking to influence our physical reality. It's not think a tomato, manifest a tomato. I think eventually it could be that, but I think as human beings here on planet Earth, it's a really good thing that we can't manifest that quickly, or else we'd all be in big trouble, right? Think about the negative thoughts you have, or the hateful thoughts, or the angry thoughts. Imagine those manifesting something that you're thinking instantly. That wouldn't be such a good thing, right? I hate you, I wish you were dead. Boom. That would not be a good thing. So I guess I just want to say, be open-minded. I think being open-minded is a really great self-care gift that we give to ourselves. It's a real gift that we give to ourselves when we allow ourselves to learn and grow and just take in new information and new experiences. Allow them to think of it as them sort of just washing through you, and what's meant to stay will. Remember, God, the universe, the creator is love. Love is the most powerful force of all. And there's nothing wrong, to be open-minded, to be generous with yourself, to be to allow yourself to grow and evolve and entertain new ideas and new beliefs and new perspectives is a profound act of love. That's all you need to remember. Okay, let's see. Are you writing any new books? Not right now. I suppose I always am in the background, but I'm not working on one. As a matter of fact, the paperback of Waking Up in Winter is coming out in 6 days, and I'm focused on that right now. So that'll be available, I think, January 29th or 30th, something like that. Okay, let's see. I love it. Susan says, do you see a move for me or a job? I'm not a psychic. But I see a wonderful move for you and a beautiful job. How's that? Let's see. Okay. So Diane says, I would love to do sports coaching and use my mediumship and medical intuitive skills. How do I jump from the woo-woo to be more professional or corporate is appropriate? Is it appropriate to send a report as an example? I don't understand that part, Diane. I would worry less about the language that you use to describe what you do in terms of mediumship or medical intuition or any of that. I have a very vast toolbox as a coach, and I pull out all kinds of tools depending on who I'm speaking with. So for example, during the retreats, sometimes I'll do tapping therapies with somebody that I'm working with, and I'll have the whole audience do it with us. Or sometimes I'll use the Enneagram as a tool. Sometimes I'll use guided imagery as a tool, or I have a different process that I use for helping people to uncover unconscious material that's keeping them stuck. So there's a lot of different, and I use intuition all the time because I've been doing this a long time and I've got a lot of experience in well-honed intuition. But I never worry about saying whatever those tools are. I just use them when it's appropriate. So I don't know what the interest in sports coaching is. I mean, if you're talking about coaching sports teams, I don't quite understand that. But I would say, whatever kind of coaching you want to do, just bring the experience you have with you. You don't have to say you're a medium. You don't have to say you use medical intuition. You can just use whatever intuitive insights come to you when appropriate and when given permission to do so in whatever coaching, it is that you do. All right. I hope that's helpful. Let's see. So Chris says, what suggestion would you have for me and others like me as I branch into intuitive work while still working full-time? Every time I get some gumption, it is short-lived. Every time I get some gumption, does that mean every time I start to kind of make that move, I back down or I don't follow through? I'm not sure what that means, Chris, but I say this all the time on Facebook Live. Most very successful companies were built on the backs of people who started out part-time while they were working full-time. So it's absolutely normal to do that. And it's what I did in the beginning too. I had to work full-time in order to pay the bills while I was building my coaching practice on the side. So I wonder things like, is the intuitive work what you really want to do? Do you have enough belief in yourself? Do you need to practice more? Maybe doing it for free on the side so that you build you build a following of people that have really benefited from your work that you can then build your business on. Is it just a matter of discipline that, 2 nights a week, I'm going to focus on my intuitive work. I'm going to try and keep it the same 2 nights every week. And I'm going to make that commitment and give it 6 months or give it a year, put some kind of time frame on it, and then have it be less about whether or not the intuitive work is successful and more about building your discipline muscles, which is something everybody needs to do without a doubt. You have to build your ability to be disciplined if you want to be successful in anything. So, okay, I hope that's helpful, Chris. Um, Christine says, my father-in-law is in hospice now for a week. My heart is breaking all over again watching my husband and in-laws going through this. My mom died in August and I'm struggling with grief too. How can I be there for them while practicing self-care? So Christine, this is the kind of life challenge that I'm talking about. So do me a favor and go back and listen to this Facebook Live, listen to the first 20 minutes or so and make some notes or pick up a copy of The Art of Extreme Self-Care. And this is what it looks like. If you could see that, yeah, The Art of Extreme Self-Care. Pick up a copy of that and go right to the last chapter and answer those questions and create yourself an extreme self-care first aid kit. It is heartbreaking, honey. It's just heartbreaking when we lose. It's hard enough to be going through your own grief. I mean, there's several things that happen. You go through your own grief about your mom. You grieve for your husband and his family and your father-in-law. And then we also are contending with what does it mean to be at times in our lives where we're losing people. Michael and I talk about this a lot because we've lost some people or we've had people close to us dealing with crises. And it's kind of like, the time of life. I mean, this is sort of the time that we're in. So I think it's really important, Christine, that you take consistent time to yourself. Make sure you've got some people that you can reach out to for support outside of the family system. And you can even let them know ahead of time, here's what we're going through. It's really hard. Could you be on call for me? Like, would you be able to be there for me? I loved it today when I was talking to this friend of mine who's going through a health crisis. In some ways, she's so much, and by the way, Adrienne, this goes back to the whole Enneagram thing, because I know her Enneagram type, she knows mine. And she's such a teacher for me because as she's been going through this difficult time, she has no problem saying to people, I don't want to do tough stuff alone. I want you with me. I need help. Like, she has no problem at all saying that. It's not an easy thing for a lot of people, especially women. So Christine, going to some of your friends or people outside of the family systems and saying, could you be a safe place for me to bring the grief about my mom so that I feel like I'm, revitalized in such a way. Is that a word? Just renewed in some way. There's another word I'm trying to think of, but so that I get the energy I need to be able to support my husband and his family. I think that's really important, taking time consistently to yourself. And I'm going to put you in my prayer book. Hold on while I grab a pen. I had a pen here somewhere. There we go. Okay. I'm going to, Christine, put you and your family in my prayer book. My little red prayer book that I use all the time. You all hear me talk about it. You're in there, sweetheart. And I'm always, I keep this book around me in my office, and I'm always like putting good vibes into this book. So I hope that it helps. And I will absolutely keep you in my thoughts and prayers, you and your family. Okay, let's see. Carmen says, my brother Alex made his transition and I would appreciate it if he would visit me in my dreams. What can I do to encourage him to visit? That's a great question, Carmen. As somebody who's done dream work over the years, and I'm currently, over the last year, have been actively doing dream work with a Jungian therapist. I love dreams. I love dreaming. I think they're incredibly healing and powerful. When Pupan died, 2 days after he died, he came to me in a dream, and it made all the difference in the world. And I don't think I did anything to inspire that to happen, Carmen. I think I was just in so much pain that his energy knew it and came to visit me. I think that one of the things you can do is, put a journal by your bed or a pad of paper and a pen. Always keep it there. I always do. All of us dream. It's just that many of us don't remember our dreams, but we're always dreaming. And if you're really, really tired, or if you wake up frequently off and on during the night, it can be difficult to remember your dreams. But we all dream. And so when you go to bed at night, Carmen, you can just, as you're drifting off to sleep, talk to Alex. Just talk to him. Let him know, I love you. I miss you. I would love for you to visit me. I trust that you'll visit me at the right time and in the right way. I'm holding you in my heart and I'm holding you in my thoughts, and I'm inviting you to visit me. I'm inviting you to visit me in the night, in my dreams. And just make that a little practice every single night. And before you know it, he'll probably come and visit you. And also, think about, you can decide, a lot of times we forget that we can, as human beings here on planet Earth, we can decide that we are going to choose a sign that will represent the loved one we've lost. And you could just choose that sign and then invite Alex to adopt that sign and to use it to communicate with you in waking life, which is just another form of a dream, by the way. So you can pick something. It could be anything, a butterfly, a bird. It could be a word or a phrase, a song, a person, like whatever. But you could just pick a sign and say, say to Alex, you know what, Alex, I've decided that when I see, a blue jay, it's going to be you. So I invite you to take that form and visit me. And I'll know it's you when you visit. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at what happens. And I look forward to hearing what happens too, for sure. Okay, let's see. I know we're getting late. I'm just going to do one more question and then we'll move on. Let's see. Yeah, Joel mentions A Course in Miracles is also can be a beautiful resource for faith, for inspiring faith. Let's see. Yeah, see, I already see you all talking to each other, and I love that. Please keep doing that. And, please go back and read through the comments. Those of you that have posted questions or are talking about difficult things that you're going through, please go ahead and read back through, because there's people talking to you and you might not know it. Kathy says, I can't wait to meet you at Circles of Wisdom. Kathy, thank you for mentioning that. So there's Circles of Wisdom is this beautiful place. It's a bookstore and a crystal shop and just a really lovely shop in Methuen, Massachusetts. And I've just decided to do a one-day workshop on the magic of midlife at Circles of Wisdom. You'll see it up on my website under the schedule page. It should be there. If not today, it'll be there tomorrow, and you can get all the details. Terry, if it is up, maybe you could put a link as well. But yes, Kathy, I look forward to meeting you too there. That'll be fun. We'll have a good time. Okay, let's see. Yeah, good. Diane wants to know, will The Art of Extreme Self-Care be released in hardcover again? That's a really good question. You know what, Diane, I don't suspect it will be, but here's something. I have a few of the hardcovers left. And if you send an email, so I'm just going to do this for you, Diane, because I'm not parting with them because I loved that hardcover. But if you send an email to lisa@cherylrichardson.com, Lisa will get to me and I will send you a hardcover, especially from me with a little note. How about that? Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so lisa@cherylrichardson.com, Diane. You can just email her tonight when we finish. Okay, and hi, Isabel from Portugal. She says, I discovered recently that my asthma is related to emotions. Since then, I've stopped medicines and I'm doing my best to solve the problem. Do you have any advice? Yes, Isabel, I would encourage you to go to the App Store on your smartphone and download the Tapping Solution app and look for an app on dealing with asthma, because it might be there. But if not, anxiety. The Tapping Solution app is awesome. I would encourage it for anybody. You can actually watch videos of people tapping. They'll show you the points to tap on, the language that you need to use. It's a really, really great tool, Isabel, and I think it could be very, very helpful because, excuse me, you want to be able to break the link between certain thinking, neural pathways. So habitual ways of thinking create neural pathways in the brain. So they're like grooves in a record. And we want to break up some of those grooves, break up those neural pathways and create new ones. So when we've been afraid of something like having an asthma attack, for example, or if anxiety triggers asthma, for example, there are ways that we think that create neural pathways in the brain that then flood the body with certain chemicals that then have the body react the way that it did. And we want to interrupt that pattern. And the tapping therapies are a really powerful and quite frankly, simple way to interrupt that process. So that's what I would recommend to you. And Terry, we can put the tappingsolution.com website. Go back and look at the resources, Isabel, when we're done here. Give me a few minutes to post them. And you'll be able to find it right there. And you can download the app, which would be awesome. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your questions and your comments. I'll go back and read through them. Sometimes I respond if I have a chance. I don't always have a chance to do that, but I'll do my best. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you all will go back and again, make yourself an extreme self-care first aid kit by answering the questions that I talked about in the very beginning. It will really, really help you during a time of need. And you don't want to have to think about it when you're blindsided by something. You want to think about it ahead of time. So I even recommend that people answer the questions, create a first aid kit, and then laminate it and put it someplace where you put other important papers so that you'd know where to find it when you need it. All right? Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for being with me. I so appreciate that you are. I really do. I hope that something I've said has helped you in some way, will help to bring some healing to your life. And I'll look forward to speaking with you again next week, okay? All right. Lots of love, everybody. Bye.